The Clithar Veil was a huge cloud of gas and dust between the stars. The Galactic Empire called it their strongest wall. No ship could cross it without being seen. Sensors covered every path. Automated drones watched day and night. Alien fleets patrolled the edges. They felt safe. High Admiral Zorath stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. The ship was so big that small cities could fit inside it. Zorath was tall, with silver skin and 4 sharp eyes. He looked at the screens that showed the quiet nebula. Everything was normal. Reports came in from the border worlds, small fights with weak races, nothing serious. The Empire had ruled for thousands of years. No one dared challenge them. Zorath turned to his second officer. "Status of the outer grid?" he asked. "Perfect, Admiral," the officer answered. "No contacts. Not even a stray comet has slipped through." Zorath nodded. He liked hearing that. The Empire was strong. Their ships were fast. Their weapons could burn whole planets. The humans, far away in their small corner of space, were nothing. Just one weak species that learned to fly between stars only a short time ago. Zorath smiled. Soon the Empire would take their worlds too. But far inside the nebula, hidden in the thickest part, something moved. The USS Vanguard was a human battleship. It was not the biggest ship Earth ever built, but it was smart. Its hull was dark and smooth, covered in special plates that bent light and heat around it. No radar could find it easily. No heat sensors could see its engines when they ran low. The ship looked like empty space. Captain Daniel Hayes sat in the command chair. He was calm. His brown eyes watched the main screen. It showed swirling purple and black clouds of the nebula. The ship moved very slowly, engines at 1% power. No active scans, only passive listening. "Distance to the final barrier?" Hayes asked in a quiet voice. Executive Officer Laura Bennett checked her console. She had short black hair and always looked focused. 3 light minutes, Captain. We exit the dense core in 12 minutes if we keep this speed." Hayes gave a small nod. "Good. Keep emissions at 0, no mistakes." The bridge was quiet. Everyone spoke in low voices. They had trained for this for 2 years. The mission was simple but dangerous. Get to the edge of the Imperial capital system. Get close enough to be seen. Then leave. No fight unless they had no choice. It was a test. A message. Humans could reach anywhere. Chief Engineer Kevin Morales worked in the engine room. He was short and strong with a calm face. He watched the power readouts. The reactors ran so quiet that they made less noise than a sleeping cat. Special coolant systems took away heat. No glow, no trail. Morales smiled to himself. The aliens thought their nebula was a wall. To the Vanguard, it was just a dark road. Ensign Megan Foster sat at the sensor station. She was young, only 24. This was her first deep space mission. Her hand stayed steady on the controls. She watched for any sign that the aliens had noticed them. Nothing. The Empire's sensors swept past like wind over a ghost. "Still clean," she whispered. Tactical Officer Ryan Patel stood near the weapons panel. He was ready if things went wrong. The ship carried heavy rail guns, phase cannons, and antimatter missiles. Enough power to hurt a fleet. But today the weapons stayed cold. Patel hoped they would stay that way. The Vanguard drifted on. Minutes passed. The purple clouds grew thinner. Stars began to shine through. The crew felt the change. They were close now, very close. Back on the Eternal Dominion, Zorath finished his inspection. He walked to his private room. He wanted rest before the next patrol review. A servant brought him warm liquid from his home world. He drank slowly. Life was good for an admiral. Power, respect, safety. Then the junior sensor officer on the capital's main station saw something strange. At first it was just a tiny shadow on the long-range screen. The computer said, "Possible error." The officer looked again. He ran more checks. The shadow did not move like a comet. It did not have the signature of any known ship. But it was there. Big. Solid. right at the edge of their home system. The officer's hands shook. He sent an alert to the High Command. Unknown contact, Imperial space, no identification. Minutes later, alarms sounded softly on many ships. Not loud panic yet, just confusion. Admirals asked questions. Is it a probe, a lost freighter, a sensor ghost? No one knew. On the Vanguard, Hayes saw the first change. Small lights appeared on the tactical map, alien ships turning, scanning harder, but still no lock on the human ship. Laura Bennett looked at him. They see something, Captain. Not us. Not yet. But they know something is wrong. Hayes leaned forward. Then we wait. Let them look. Let them wonder. The battleship kept moving. Slow, silent, perfect. Inside the nebula's last thick cloud, the USS Vanguard slipped out like a shadow, leaving a dark room. Now the bright stars of the Imperial capital system lay ahead. Thousands of lights from stations, ships, and the huge palace world in the center. The humans had done what no one thought possible. They crossed the unbreakable wall, and no one in the Empire had seen them coming. The crew on the Vanguard did not cheer. They stayed quiet. Their job was not finished. The real test started now. High above the throne world, Emperor Calix sat in his great hall. He listened to music from crystal instruments. Nobles talked about new conquests. No one spoke of humans. They were too small, too far. But soon that would change. One ship, one human ship, already so close that the Empire's heart would soon feel cold fear. And the silent approach was over. The Imperial capital world shone like a jewel in the black of space. Its surface was covered in golden cities, wide palaces, and tall towers that touched the clouds. Orbiting above it were rings of defense stations, thousands of warships, and giant shipyards that built new vessels every day. This was the heart of the Galactic Empire, the place where the Emperor ruled and where no enemy had ever come close. Emperor Calix sat on his high throne in the Great Hall. The hall was huge, with walls made of shining crystal and floors that glowed soft blue. Hundreds of nobles in bright robes stood around him. They talked in low voices about new worlds to take, new races to rule. Calix listened with half-interest. He was old now, with deep purple skin and long white hair tied in gold rings. His four eyes moved slowly over the crowd. Everything felt safe. The Empire was too big, too strong for trouble. High Admiral Zorath had just arrived from his flagship. He walked through the hall with long steps. His silver armor shone under the lights. He bowed low to the Emperor. "Your Majesty," Zorath said, "the outer patrols report all clear. The Clithar Vale remains silent." Calix waved a hand. "Good. Then let us speak of the next sector. The humans sit far away. Their little ships are no match for us." The nobles laughed softly. Someone said, "They still use rockets like children playing with fire." More laughter filled the hall. At that moment, a young censor officer ran into the Great Hall. He was small, with shaking legs. Guards tried to stop him, but he pushed past. He fell to his knees in front of the Emperor. "Your Majesty." "High Admiral, emergency signal from the outer defense grid." The hall went quiet. Everyone turned to look. Calix leaned forward. "Speak, boy." The officer swallowed hard. "A contact. A large ship. It appeared suddenly on long-range scanners. No approach vector, no warp trail. It is in our home system, just beyond the outer perimeter." A whisper spread through the nobles. Zorath's four eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Show me the data." The officer held up a small screen. Zorath took it. He stared at the image. A single large shape, human design, battleship size. No energy signature, no heat bloom. It sat there like it had always been there. Zorath felt cold in his chest. He had never seen anything like this. The Empire's sensors could detect a fly moving through the nebula, but yet this ship had crossed everything and appeared without warning. "Get me the full scan," Zorath ordered. More officers rushed in. They brought bigger screens. The image grew clearer. The ship was dark, almost invisible against the stars. Its shape was smooth, not like the sharp angles of Imperial ships. It looked calm, waiting. Calyx stood up slowly. "How close is it?" "4 light minutes from the throne world, Majesty," one officer said. "It could fire on our stations in seconds if it wanted." The nobles started to talk louder. Some looked afraid, others angry. Zorath turned to the Emperor. "We must scramble the home fleet now." Calyx nodded. "Do it. Bring every ship. Surround it. I want answers." Alarms sounded across the capital system. Red lights flashed on every station. Warships powered up their engines. Cruisers, destroyers. And heavy battle carriers moved into formation. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. The sky above the throne world filled with metal and glowing engines. On board the USS Vanguard, Captain Daniel Hayes watched it all on the main screen. The tactical display showed hundreds of red dots moving toward them. Alien ships closing fast. Laura Bennett stood beside him. "They are coming in force, Captain. Full combat spread." Hayes kept his voice steady. "Let them come. We stay quiet. No active weapons, no engines above idle." Kevin Morales called from engineering. "Reactors stable. Stealth systems holding. They still have no solid lock on us." Ryan Patel at Tactical checked his panels. "Phase cannons on standby. Railguns loaded but cold. We can hit them if needed." Hayes looked at his crew. They were calm. No fear in their eyes, only focus. The Vanguard had come a long way for this moment. Months of silent travel. Weeks in the nebula. Days of careful drifting. Now they were here, in the Empire's backyard, and the Empire was waking up. Back on the Eternal Dominion, Zorath stood on his bridge. Officers shouted reports. "Target is not moving, Admiral. No emissions detected. Shields at full. Weapons hot." Zorath stared at the main viewer. The human ship looked small compared to his dreadnought. But it felt wrong. Too quiet. Too still. "Open a channel," Zorath said. "All frequencies, let them hear us." The communications officer nodded. Zorath spoke clearly. "This is High Admiral Zorath of the Galactic Empire. You have entered forbidden space. Identify yourself and power down immediately. You will be boarded and your ship taken. A resistance will mean death." The words went out across the stars. On the Vanguard, the message came through. Everyone heard it. Laura Bennett raised an eyebrow. "They sound mad." Hayes smiled a little. "They should be." He pressed a button on his chair. His voice went out on the same open channel. "This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the United Earth ship Vanguard. We come in peace. We are here to show you something important. Your defenses have holes, big ones. We crossed them without a sound. Think about that." Silence followed. Then the alien channel exploded with shouts. Some laughed, some cursed. Zorath's voice came back, hard and cold. "You think one ship scares us? You will burn for this insult." Hayes did not answer. He looked at the screen. The alien fleet was almost in range, rings of ships around them, weapons pointed. The tractor beams charging. Megan Foster at sensors spoke softly. "Captain, they are locking on." Hayes nodded. "Hold position. Let them see we are not afraid." The Empire thought this was easy. One human ship against thousands. They thought it would end fast. They were wrong. The first alien cruisers moved closer. Energy nets shot out like glowing webs. Tractor beams locked. Boarding pods launched in waves. On the Vanguard, point defense systems woke up. Small lasers flashed, not big blasts, just quick, sharp cuts. Pods exploded in silence. Nets tore apart. Tractor beams failed one by one. The aliens kept coming. Then the Vanguard's phase cannons hummed. Low power at first, thin beams of light. They touched the nearest cruiser. The alien ship's shield popped like a bubble. Armor bent inward. Engines died. The cruiser drifted. Dark and broken. Another beam. Another ship disabled. Zorath watched in shock. His fleet was losing ships without the human ship even turning. "How?" he whispered. On the throne world, Emperor Calyx stared at the screens in his hall. Nobles were quiet now. Fear showed on their faces. One ship, one human battleship, it sat in their home system. And it was winning. The Empire had ruled for so long, they thought no one could touch them. Now they learned something new. Humans did not need big fleets to scare them. One ship was enough. If it could get this close. The panic was just starting. The space around the USS Vanguard filled with alien ships. They came from every direction, rings of cruisers, walls of destroyers, heavy carriers at the back, thousands of glowing engines pointed at the single human battleship. The Imperial fleet looked like a storm of metal closing in. No one in the Empire had ever seen so many ships move together for one target. High Admiral Zorath stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion. His silver skin looked pale under the red alert lights. He gripped the command rail hard. His 4 eyes stared at the main screen. The human ship sat in the center, still. No movement, no weapons showing. It looked small, too small to be a threat. Zorath opened the channel again. His voice carried across every ship and every station in the system. "Humans, this is your last chance. Power down your systems. Open your bays for boarding. Surrender now, or we will tear your ship apart piece by piece." The words echoed in the silence of space. On the Vanguard, Captain Daniel Hayes listened. He sat straight in his chair, and his face showed no anger, no fear, just calm. Laura Bennett looked at him. "They really think we will give up?" Hayes gave a small smile. "Let them think it. It makes what comes next easier." He pressed the transmit button. His voice went out clear and steady. "This is Captain Daniel Hayes. We will not surrender. We did not come to fight. We came to show you the truth. Your empire has weak spots. We found them. We used them. Now you see one ship in your home system. Imagine what a real fleet could do." The alien bridge filled with angry shouts. Zorath slammed his hand on the rail. "Enough talk! All ships engage! Full power! Burn them!" The order went out. Tractor beams shot forward in bright green lines. They tried to lock on the Vanguard and pull it in. Energy nets spread like giant spider webs. Boarding pods launched in hundreds. A small craft full of soldiers raced toward the human ship. On the Vanguard, alarms beeped softly, not loud panic alarms, just warning tones. Megan Foster at sensors spoke fast. "Tractors locking, pods incoming, distance closing." Ryan Patel at tactical answered without looking up. "Point defense ready." Hayes nodded. "Fire when in range. Disable only. No kills unless they force it." The first wave hit. Point defense lasers woke up. They were small but fast. Thin red lines flashed out. Boarding pods popped like fireworks, one after another. Silent explosions in the dark. Energy nets tore apart as lasers cut through them. Tractor beams flickered and died when their emitters got hit. The aliens kept sending more. They thought numbers would win. Then the Vanguard's main weapons spoke. Phase cannons hummed low. Blue-white beams reached out. Not loud blasts, quiet, sharp cuts. The first beam touched a heavy cruiser. The alien shield glowed bright for half a second, then broke. The beam went through armor like a knife through paper. Engines went dark. Weapons arrays fell silent. The cruiser drifted away, helpless. Another beam, another ship down. Zorath watched his fleet lose ships one by one. Not destroyed, disabled. Engines cut, guns gone, shields gone. The human ship did not waste shots. It hit exactly where it hurt most. "How are they doing this?" Zorath asked. His voice shook a little. An officer answered. "Their weapons ignore our shields, Admiral. They phase through. We have no counter." Zorath turned back to the screen. The human ship still had not moved. It sat like a rock in a river. The fleet flowed around it. But the river was breaking. On the throne world, the Emperor Calix watched from his hall. Large screens showed the battle. Nobles stood frozen. No one spoke. They saw their mighty ships turn dark one after another. A noble whispered, "One ship, just one." Calix's hands closed tight on his throne arms. His purple skin turned darker with anger and fear. Back in space, the Eternal Dominion moved forward. Zorath ordered full speed. His dreadnought was the biggest ship in the Empire, bigger than cities. Its main cannon could crack moons. "Target their engines," Zorath said. "If we can stop them from running, we win." The dreadnought's cannon charged. A deep hum filled the ship. Energy built up. Bright white light gathered at the barrel. On the vanguard, Kevin Morales called from engineering. "Big one charging, Captain. Looks like their flagship main gun." Hayes looked at the screen. "Ryan, and target their weapon emitter. Low power, just enough to shut it down." Patel nodded. "Firing." A single-phase beam shot out. It hit the dreadnought's cannon barrel. The charging light died. Sparks flew across the alien ship's hull. The weapon went silent. Zorath stared in disbelief. "Impossible." The Vanguard sent another message. Hayes's voice again, calm, clear. "We could have ended this already. We choose not to. Pull back your ships. Let us leave, or we will stop being nice." The alien fleet slowed. Some ships drifted back. Others stayed unsure. Zorath opened a private channel to the Vanguard. Only Hayes could hear it. "Why?" Zorath asked. "Why not destroy us?" Hayes answered slowly. "Because we do not want war. Not yet. We want you to understand. Space is big. Humans are here, and we can reach anywhere. Even your throne room if we want." Zorath said nothing for a long moment. Then he spoke in a low voice. "You have made your point," Hayes replied. "Good. Then call off your ships." Zorath looked around his bridge. Officers waited for orders. Some looked scared, some angry. He closed his eyes for a second. Then he spoke to his fleet. "All ships, stand down, cease fire, form defensive perimeter, do not engage." The order spread. Engines cooled, weapons powered down. The storm around the Vanguard stopped. The human battleship stayed still. No victory cheers on the bridge, just quiet work, checking systems, watching the aliens. Laura Bennett looked at Hayes. They backed off. Hayes nodded. "For now." Megan Foster spoke softly. "Captain, the Emperor is on open channel. He wants to speak." Hayes took a breath. "Well, put him through." Emperor Calix's face appeared on the screen, old, tired, angry. "Human," he said, "you have shamed us in our own home." Hayes met his eyes. "No, Emperor, we showed you the truth. Your walls are not strong. Your sensors miss things. Your ships can be stopped. Learn from this, or next time we come with more." Calix said nothing. His 4 eyes burned. Hayes continued. "We will leave now. Do not follow. Do not fire. This was a warning, not an attack." The screen went dark. On the Vanguard, Hayes turned to his crew. "Engineering, prepare fold conduit. Navigation, plot exit vector. Stealth mode full." The ship started to move, slow at first, then faster. Alien ships watched. No one moved to stop them. The Vanguard turned toward open space. Its drives glowed soft blue. The fold conduit opened, a dark ripple in reality. The ship slipped inside, gone. The Imperial fleet stayed behind, ships damaged, pride broken, silence on every channel. Zorath looked at the empty space where the human ship had been. One question burned in his mind. How? How did one human battleship get this close? And how could they stop the next one? The confrontation was over. But the fear had just begun. The throne room on the capital world felt colder than before. Emperor Calix sat alone on his high seat now. The nobles had left in small groups. Their bright robes looked dull under the dim lights. No one wanted to speak. The screens around the hall still showed the battle space. Dark alien ships drifted without power. Some spun slowly. Others hung still like broken toys. The human ship was gone. It had slipped away into nothing. Calix stared at the empty spot on the main viewer. His 4 eyes were wide. His long fingers tapped the arm of the throne. He had ruled for centuries. He had seen wars. He had seen victories. But he had never seen his fleet stopped by one ship, one small human ship. High Admiral Zorath entered the room. His silver armor had small burn marks from the fight. He walked slowly. His head was low. He stopped in front of the Emperor and bowed. "Majesty," Zorath said. His voice sounded tired. "The human vessel has left our space. It used some kind of fold, a hole in normal space. We could not follow." Calix looked at him. "Explain. How did it happen? How did one ship reach here?" Zorath took a deep breath. "Our best minds are working on it. But we have answers now. Not full answers, but pieces." He waved a hand. A large screen lit up. It showed maps of the Clithar Vale. Red lines marked the Empire's sensor grids. Blue dots showed patrol ships. Everything looked perfect, strong. Then a thin green line appeared. It moved through the nebula. Not straight. Not like normal warp paths. It curved, it jumped. Short hops. Very short. Each hop left no trace. No energy wake. No heat. No light. "This is their path," Zorath said. "They did not use our kind of drive. They folded space. Small folds. Many times. Each fold was too quick for our sensors to catch. They stayed dark the whole way. No engines hot. No signals out. They were ghosts." Calix leaned forward. "Our sensors see everything. You told me that." Zorath looked down. "We were wrong. They used stealth better than we thought. Their hull bends light. Their reactors run cold. They even cooled their waste heat. Nothing leaked. And nothing showed." An intelligence officer stepped forward. He was young. His skin was pale blue. He held a data pad. "Majesty," he said, "we pulled fragments from the disabled ships. The human weapons, they phase. They go through shields. Our shields stop energy and matter, but their beams shift between states. They ignore barriers. We have no defense for that yet." Calix closed his eyes. "So they can hit us, and we cannot hit back." The officer nodded slowly. "Not easily. Not now." Zorath spoke again. "There is more. They chose not to kill. They could have destroyed my flagship. They could have hit the throne world. They did not. They cut engines. They broke weapons. They left us alive. On purpose." Calix opened his eyes. Anger mixed with fear in his voice. "Why? To mock us?" "To teach us," Zorath said. Their captain said it clearly. "They want us to know. Our borders are not safe. Our home is not safe. If they can come once, they can come again. With more ships. With bigger weapons." Silence filled the room. Outside, across the capital city, news spread fast. Giant screens on towers showed the fight. Citizens gathered in streets. They watched in shock. Some cried, some shouted. The Empire had always been the strongest. Now one human ship had made it look weak. In the council chambers below the throne room, advisors argued. Some wanted war. "Build more ships, find their worlds, burn them." Others spoke of peace. "If one ship can do this, think of 10. Think of 100. We cannot fight that." Calix listened to reports from every corner of the Empire. Governors on distant worlds asked questions. Is it true? Did humans reach the capital? Merchants stopped trade. Fleets pulled back from borders. Fear moved faster than ships. Zorath stayed in the throne room. He looked at the Emperor. "Majesty," he said quietly, "I failed you. I said the veil was unbreakable. I was wrong." Calix looked at him for a long time. Then he spoke. "No, Admiral. We all failed. We grew too proud. We thought no one could challenge us. We stopped watching. We stopped learning." He stood up slowly, his robes dragged on the floor. He walked to a window. Outside, stars shone bright, the same stars humans now flew among. "I want answers," Calyx said. "I want our scientists to study every piece of data from this fight. I want new sensors, new shields, new weapons, and I want talks with the humans." Zorath looked surprised. "Talks?" "Yes," Calyx said. "They did not kill us when they could. That means something. Maybe they want peace. Maybe they want respect. Either way, we must learn who they are. Before they decide we are not worth talking to." Zorath bowed. "As you command." The Emperor turned back to the room. His voice grew stronger. "Send a message to every world. Tell them the truth. A human ship reached our heart. It left a warning. We will not hide this shame. We will use it. We will grow stronger. We will change." He paused. "But first, we must understand how they did it." In the quiet of space, far from the capital, the USS Vanguard moved through the fold conduit. The strange tunnel of bent space carried them away. Inside the ship, the crew worked. They checked systems. They saved data. They smiled a little. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge. He looked at the star map. The Empire grew small behind them. Laura Bennett came to his side. "Do you think they learned?" Hayes thought for a moment. "Some will, some won't. But they know now. Humans are not weak. Humans are not far away. Humans can touch them." Kevin Morales joined them. "Fold complete in 2 minutes. We'll drop out near friendly space." Hayes nodded. "Good work, everyone. This was not just a trip. It was a message heard across the galaxy." The crew looked at each other. Pride showed on their faces. Not loud pride, quiet pride. The kind that comes from doing something impossible. On the throne world, Emperor Calyx sat again. He stared at the stars. One question stayed in his mind. How did a human battleship get this close? The answer was simple. Because humans never stopped trying. Because humans found ways where others saw walls. Because humans were bold. And now the Empire knew fear. Real fear. The kind that makes empires change or fall. The USS Vanguard moved through the fold conduit like a shadow slipping between cracks in a wall. Inside the ship, everything felt calm. The strange tunnel of bent space carried them far from the Imperial capital. No pursuit followed. No alarms chased them. The Empire's mighty fleet stayed behind, broken and silent. Captain Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge. He watched the star map slowly change. The red zone of Imperial space grew smaller. Green dots of neutral and human-friendly areas appeared ahead. The crew worked quietly. They checked every system twice. No one wanted a mistake now. Laura Bennett looked up from her console. "Fold exit in 30 seconds, Captain. We'll drop out in safe space. No contacts detected." Hayes nodded. "Good. They'd open a wideband transmission when we emerge. One last message." Kevin Morales called from engineering. "Conduit stable. Power levels nominal. We're clear." Ryan Patel kept his eyes on tactical. "No trailing signatures. They didn't follow." Megan Foster smiled for the first time in hours. "We did it." The fold conduit rippled. Reality snapped back. Stars appeared again. Real stars. The Vanguard floated in open space, engines cooled to idle. Stealth systems stayed on low power. The ship looked like empty darkness once more. Hayes took a slow breath. "Send the message. All Imperial channels, no encryption. Let everyone hear it." The communications officer nodded. Hayes spoke clearly. His voice carried across light years. "This is Captain Daniel Hayes of the United Earthship Vanguard. We came to your home system. We left without destruction. That was a choice. We could have done more. We chose not to. Remember this day. Your borders are paper. Your walls have doors. Humans know how to find them. We do not seek war, but we will defend what is ours. Space is wide. It belongs to those who dare to cross it. Think carefully before you test us again. Next time we may not come alone. Next time we may not leave so quietly. This was your warning. Use it well. The message ended. It repeated on loop for several minutes. Every Imperial world heard it, every ship, every station, even the small outposts on the edge of known space. On the throne world, Emperor Calix listened in his private chamber. The room was dark. Only one small light glowed near his throne. He sat alone. His 4 eyes stared at nothing. The words of the human captain echoed in his mind. When he pressed a button, High Admiral Zorath appeared on a small screen. "You heard it?" Calix asked. Zorath nodded. His face looked older than before. "Yes, Majesty. The message is everywhere. Our people are afraid. Some are angry. Most are quiet." Calix leaned back. "They are right to be quiet. One ship did this. One. What happens when 10 come? What happens when 100 come?" Zorath said nothing for a long moment. Then he spoke softly. "We must change, Majesty. Our old ways will not work anymore." Calix closed his eyes. "Then we change. We study their technology. We build new defenses. We send envoys. We talk. But we never forget this day." He opened his eyes again. "And we never let another ship get this close without a fight." Zorath bowed his head. "As you command." Across the Empire, life moved slowly. At markets stayed open, but trade slowed. Ships stayed in port longer than usual. Citizens gathered in public squares. They watched replays of the battle on giant screens. They whispered about the humans. Some called them demons. Others called them clever. A few called them equals. In the shipyards, workers started new designs. Engineers looked at data from the fight. Scientists worked day and night. They wanted answers. How did the phase weapons work? How did the fold drive bend space? How did the stealth plating hide heat? The Empire had grown fat and slow. Now it felt sharp pain, pain that wakes you up. Far away, the USS Vanguard joined a small group of human support ships. They waited in a quiet system. No cheers rang out when the battleship arrived. The crews simply nodded to each other. They knew what had happened. And they knew what it meant. Hayes met with his senior officers in the briefing room. They sat around a simple table. No fancy lights, just coffee and quiet talk. Laura Bennett spoke first. "We showed them we can reach anywhere. That alone might keep peace for years." Kevin Morales nodded. "Or make them build bigger guns. Either way, they won't sleep easy." Ryan Patel looked serious. "We proved the point. One ship, one message. If they push, we'll be ready with more." Hayes listened to them all. Then he spoke. "We did not come to start a war. We came to stop one before it starts. The Empire thought humans were small, weak, far away. Now they know different. That knowledge is our best weapon. Fear of the unknown. Fear of what we might do next." He paused. "But we stay ready. Always. Because empires do not forget shame. They remember it. And sometimes they try to wash it away with blood." The officers nodded. They understood. Hayes stood up. "Get some rest. We head home soon. But first, a toast." He raised his cup. The others did the same. "To the Vanguard," he said, "and to the humans who built her. May we always find the way through." They drank in silence. Back on the throne world, night fell. Emperor Calix walked to the balcony of his palace. He looked up at the stars. So many lights. So many worlds. Once he thought they all belonged to him. Now he felt small under that sky. He whispered to himself, "How did a human battleship get this close?" The stars gave no answer, but deep inside, he knew. Because humans never stopped asking that question themselves. They asked it every day. They asked it when they left their small blue world. And they asked it when they faced bigger foes. They asked it until they found answers. And when they found answers, they used them, boldly, without fear. The Empire would change now. It had to, or it would break. The panic did not come from explosions or death. It came from something worse. The sudden knowledge that the galaxy was no longer theirs alone. A new player had arrived, quiet, smart, dangerous, and very, very close. The stars felt different now. They felt watched. And somewhere out there in the dark between systems, a human battleship flew home, carrying not just victory, but proof that humanity had grown up, proof that the old rules no longer applied. The Galactic Empire would never be the same, because one ship, one single human ship, had shown them the truth. And the truth hurts, especially when it arrives without warning.